Okay, in this video we're going to bind the skeleton to the insurance salesman here. I'm going to select the hips and let's come back here and select the geometry. Shift select. And we're going to go to rigging, skin. We're going to go to bind skin. And we're going to want to go to the option box when we do that. So Control Shift click. That brings this icon up here. I'm also going to want paint skin weights. Again with the option box. And same thing, I'm also going to want mirror skin weights. Okay, so everything's still selected, so let's go to the skin, bind skin. I'll select it up here the first time, but just know I already put the icons there. So bind skin. Okay, so let's go to edit, reset settings so that we're at the default settings here. We're going to use the whole hierarchy so we don't have to select it there. The binding method is going to be the closest distance from a vert to a joint. Classic, linear, weight distribution distance. That sounds reasonable. Now, there's something called a bind pose, and that's the pose that the character is in when it's bound. And you can have more than one bind poses. More than one bind pose. So right now we're not going to do that. So we're going to disallow multiple bind poses. And I should also shift select the eyes while I'm at it, because that's what got me into more bind poses than the previous demo. I'm going to put max influences to 3 is a good number, or you could do 2. You can keep this on or off. It doesn't really matter, but I'm going to turn it off. Never mess with the drop-off rate. It's going to deform. It's going to create a skin cluster, which is a deformer node, and the skin cluster is just a description of how the vertices are weighted to the joints. So let's apply and close. And now let's test. So it's important when you test that you do your thing, and then very first thing you do is hit Z so that all the rotation goes back to 0. Okay. Here I'm going to go to frame 0. You notice that if I scrub, the character disappears. Reason being is because the gecko doesn't have the P on, and the P stands for play, or it plays when you're scrubbing or simulating. So I want that on. Now, again, it's very important that everything is at 0, like for a bind pose or when you're setting up your controls. So things being at 0 are really important. So if you test, that's great. Just make sure you hit Z afterwards. And so I usually only test 1 or 2 things at a time, so that I don't forget to unzero or to zero something out. Okay. Now, if you did make a bit of a mess, so what you could do is select these and the hierarchy, and then if I click here on the rotate, drag down from X to Z, and then with the numerical, or with the keypad, type in 0, and then hit enter. It's going to do that for all of them that are selected. So that's a way to kind of get unstuck or get back to zero. It's not the most efficient way, but that's how you can do it. Now with everything zeroed, let's select the hierarchy. And what I'm going to do is make sure I'm at frame 1. And I'm going to put a keyframe on everything. So if we go to animation, we can see key. And to set key, it's the S key sets keyframes on everything that's selected. We could also just add this to our shelf with the option box. Let's click on it. Option box is going to bring everything up. And so this will key essentially everything that's keyable. So I'm just going to press S. I just put a keyframe on every joint, and the red color here indicates that there's a keyframe on it. That's really good. So now if I select it, you'll then see the red tick mark here. And I'm going to go back to the rigging mode. Now what I'm going to do is, so this is my frame range. 66 is fine. I'm going to set this one to 66 also. This is your scene beginning, your scene end, and then this is the range slider to drill down into the scene. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a, let's go over here to maybe halfway, and we're going to make a some crazy poses that you would not want to see a poor gecko get into, I suppose. Maybe I'll rotate it up that way for this one. And here I'm going to turn off the geometry. I also have auto keyframe on. This is button right here, auto key. If it's on, if something's already got a key, and then if you move the playhead up here, and if you alter it, it's going to automatically key it. And you can see where it's kind of faint red and then it's bright red, so that's telling me that these keys were just applied. Okay, let's do this. I think I might just leave, well, yeah, let's do that. And I'm really only worried about one side here because I'm going to mirror everything. And I'm only going to move this leg just so I can kind of get it out of the way so I can see what's going on with that leg. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to rotate this that way. Okay. And then I'm going to come over here, and here what I'll do is rotate this up, rotate this up, and maybe rotate like this, and turn it that way. I suppose I could bring this one back. No, that's what I do. Leave it out there. Okay. I can also rotate the jaw. If I rotate the jaw, it's causing havoc on the head, so it's not a bad thing. Okay. So this is my animation to help me check my weighting. Wouldn't be a bad idea up here, maybe messed with the tail a little bit. It's probably going to deform just fine without too much intervention down the chain. I might just try to move it out of the way maybe a little bit. Okay, there we go. Now we're going into paint skin weights. This one, paint skin weights. So here I'll need to select the geometry. So I'm just going to select it here. So that I can keep the selection mask only touching joints there. And let's click on paint skin weights. And this brings up this menu. Now it's important to note that unless you hit the option box on paint skin weights, you're not going to get the tool settings here. And you need the tool settings when you're weighting. Okay, B, and then drag, and that'll change my brush size. I'm going to switch over to my pen here. I'm going to tap on my Cintiq. And you can see that we're on smooth. I want to go to replace, make sure we're in paint mode. You want value always on, 1. So we're not going to, if we set it to anything less than 1, it would essentially be erasing weights. That's not how we're going to do it. We're only going to be adding from one, we're only going to be adding influences to one joint at a time. And the way we take away is to add. So it's called replace, so we'll just say we're just going to be replacing influences. I'll turn the opacity down a little bit. So now let's just do this. Let's maybe take it one area at a time. So clearly we can see that we've got some issues here with the spine. We can see them here and here. And what we're seeing, if you look at the silhouettes, things are kind of messed up there. So it's our job to straighten them out. Now, as the whole purpose of setting up the animation is you can, for one, see where things are tearing or pulling apart. And then another, you can kind of slowly move them back and see how it's looking as you go from one extreme back to the other. Okay, so what I'm going to do is right click, select influence, and maybe paint with a little broader brush here. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so these edges are wanting to hang out with this joint, and this joint's not having it. This is the selected one, so I'm just going to start adding some influence, and I want to start pulling these down a little bit. I'm not going to want to go clear up here, like maybe I might just want to undo that last. There we go. Now, as I'm adding more weights here, you can see that not a whole lot is happening. And so logic would tell me, well, maybe I should go up here and let's select this influence. And actually what I need to do is add some of these up to that. So let's turn this down a little. And so the whole idea is just want to get these edges to just line up a little better. I want to see if I can fix these divots here. And I'm just going to do the one side. Not worried about this side, just this one for now. now we see this disparity here, and so let's go back and select this one. Make sure these are added. I have to maybe go back and add a few more of these again to this. I just want to kind of even everything out. And now I definitely need to include these into this. So let's just put a little bit on there. And we want to do it all the way around. And you notice I'm pulling up this edge a little bit, and that's good, because we need to do a little bit of that, but not too much. I'm not worried about this because it'll fix when I mirror from this side to that. Let's see how it looks when we go back down, and this edge here still need to work with that, so maybe pulling these up might help that a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to go to the hip, and the hip's going to want some of this action too, so I'm going to start pulling these down a little bit. The hip is also going to want to be involved with what's going on with the tail for sure, and the whole pelvic area there. Certainly down the middle. And let's just do this a little bit more. Now the leg's going to want some of the action. So let's, sorry. Okay, so in that case, when that happens, just come back and click on Gecko, right click, select the influence. So these points want to follow, or are currently following partially the hips. And so these points right here, I want to, maybe I can make this a little smaller, B, and just make sure these are all on the leg. But it's going to be a tug of war for all these edge loops in kind of the center. While I've got this selected, now's a good time to also look at the knee. So are these fanning out the way I'd like to see them? Pretty much, but I'm just going to put a little bit more weight back on here. Okay, that's looking good. You can also see that the leg is, I think I already mentioned that, the leg wants a little bit of involvement there. So we've got a point here that needs to be smoothed out a little bit. Now it's just going to be kind of back and forth till everybody's happy. Oh, come on. There we go. Everybody wants a say in where the verts go. Every joint, that is. And there are some creatures you're going to do that are going to be very difficult. Like say a horse or something, where there's on the hips there is skin that kind of pulls back and forth that connects to the torso, and areas like that can be really difficult. Okay. So we got a little bit of creasing there. Let's grab the head. head, I can make it the brush bigger, and I can turn the opacity all the way up, and then just, you know, paint this with a broad brush, as they say. Sometimes points can get a little hard to access, so just do what you got to do. And because of the nature of this gecko, the way it was built, there are some things that we're going to need to do to it to make the mouth work. I'll show that later. So just make sure this is nice and white on this side, everything. Oops. Now it looks like the eyes are fine. I'm not gonna rig the eyes up at this point. Now let's go to not the edge. Right click, select influence. Now let's go to the neck here. Just gonna spread this influence out a little bit. And we'll see how that works. So that is a bit of an awkward pose there on the neck when I bring it all the way up. Much. Z. Come back to the head. There's that tug of war I'm talking about. Okay, now I'm just going to touch on the shoulder a little bit. So the shoulder's got a hold of these, but this and the clavicle are going to be arguing for a say in that too. So I'll start with the clavicle and make the brush a little smaller. I'm going to zero in on a few areas. Let's also go here. This upper torso joint, gonna definitely want to say what's going on there. And it's just this back and forth. Okay, so right here, the shoulder's influencing these vertices right here. The shoulder is influencing. And they get really bad because essentially these vertices are rotating around this pivot, which is you know what the joints do. So we're going to have to bring in this guy to settle that argument. Okay, so looks like I kind of got out of the tool, so I'm just going to select, you know, if I select the object, pardon me, select it here, and then go back into paint skin weights. And why is it not active? What did I do wrong? Oh, accidentally clicked on select. I need to get back into paint. There we go. So this joint is selected, and so then if we just paint in a little here. So again, to take away from the shoulder, actually don't even say that. We're just adding to. So yeah, just try to think of it in those terms, and then it's going to make a lot more sense if you think about the whole weighting nonsense like that. And you just have to kind of distribute stuff out, and it's going to be a back and forth, and it's not perfect, but we'll get there. Now, this is not finished by any means. I'm going to show you one other thing I'm going to do. Okay, so again, let's look at the animation. All right, so the knee has a certain amount of volume. And we want to retain the volume. And it is retaining it pretty well, but you can see this is kind of collapsing in, and we don't want that. Make this brush just a little smaller and paint those. And so now it's retaining the volume. And I think I want this edge to come over a little bit more, so just paint a little bit there. Just spreading the wealth. You do it by replacing. That's honestly pretty good. I didn't really rotate the feet, but I want to do that same thing here with this. So when you turn these in, what I'm going to be looking for, or the TAs will be looking for, is just to make sure that we don't have any, nasty edges like that. This is something I'll have to fix from this point of view. And we can just grab the arm up here. So hold up this side a little bit. Then I'm going to have to come back here to the elbow. Arm jelbo. Okay, whatever. All right. Back here to the arm. And this is going to be a lot of bickering here, so we have to kind of make it a lot smaller, and then the arm. So just like painting, paint in broad strokes until you've got to make them a little more narrow. Okay, so I hope you can see the difference between this side and that side. I've essentially just gone here where I need to, grab the joints, just a little bit of add to. The tail's not doing too well there at the bottom. I'll have to select the hip. But I'm going to let you guys kind of figure out the rest of it, because I've explained the whole secret behind it. So this is not finished, but it's better than it was by a long stretch. And so, I'm going to want to make sure to see yours is working well in a really crazy stretch like this. Okay. Now that we're back to zero, or frame one, and everything is zeroed out, hit Q to get out of that. Now we're going to select the mesh. Come back here and select it. And let's go to mirror skin weights. which I have the icon right there. We're going to mirror across. Let's go to reset. Yeah, so the default is across the YZ axis, positive X to negative. Here's our skin clusters, the source, skin cluster 1, target, skin cluster 1, and let's click on apply, mirror. And now when we do our crazy move there, you can see that the weights are applied to the other side. Okay, so that's skin weighting in a nutshell. Now, there's lots of different ways to do this. I'm just showing you what I believe is the easiest way, and there are other plugins out there that people use. One's called NG Skin Tools. I like to show when I'm showing beginning or introductory topics to make sure I do it all in the native software. Try not to rely on plugins until I absolutely need them. Okay, so that's good. Let's save this. Save scene as. Call this 6. So I'm numbering every file. So if I make a mistake, I can go back to a previous number. And then I'm also putting a description at the end of it, so I know exactly where I was at that save. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to a little bit of troubleshooting with weights. Actually, I'm just going to stick to that now. Let's just do it. So if we rotate the head, and I'm going to come up here away from frame 1. So let's rotate the head. So it's moving pretty well. But we have this finicky jaw that we want to rotate. And right now, oh, that is a problem. Probably do want to make sure that the eyes are on board with the head. So there's another way of getting to this stuff. So with these selected, I'm going to hit Q, right click, I'm going to go to vertices. Well, let's grab those. Oh, come on. Vertices. Let's click off of joints for now. And make sure we got them all, and then let's shift click on this, right click vertices. Whoops, and I needed to have shift on. Now this is okay. If I've only got a couple of them selected, if I hit the greater than key, so shift period, or the greater than key, that's going to grow the selection. In this case, it's selected all the vertices for the eyes. Now here's something else we're going to do. We're going to go to the component editor, Windows, General Editors, Component Editor. Very helpful when you're waiting. Control-Shift-Click. It's now up here. I'm going to click on this, and here's the component editor. So all those verts are selected, and so I'm going to go to what it is that what components I'm looking at, and what I want is smooth skins. So now what I see is each vertice that's selected, and I can see which joints they are weighted to. And so in this case, I just want them all on the head. So I can just click on the head, and let's just crank everything up to 1. And in a perfect world, all of those vertices are going to be on 1, and I won't have any stragglers. Yeah, that was a perfect world. Great. Okay, so we can close. Now if we come back here grab turn the joints back on. Now the eyes are, these points here need some fixing. Probably should fix them. I'd want to put all these with the head, but I could do it with the component editor the same way. Let's come back here at the beginning, make sure everything is zeroed. So I'm going to select the vertices. Actually, no, let's take it away from one so I can. I guess I'm going to have to select the joint one more time. Again, I'm doing it away from one. So what I'm just going to focus on right now are the eyes. So what I could do is just grab vertices. I want to take off the joints there. And let's just select the vertices. Okay. And if we come back to the component editor again, Windows, General Editors, Component Editor. I don't like to dig through menus. I prefer to just come up here and click, and there we got it. So you can see that some of these are weighted to the head end. Some of them are weighted to the jaw. So let's just click on the head here, and let's just crank all of those up. So that's one, and every now and again you get a straggler. You have to kind of come in and just kind of fix it manually. Okay, that's good. So now these are associated with the head. You know, I can grab these as well, and I'm going to associate those with the head. So here I can just click and drag, or if I want the whole thing, I can click here. And got this nice little slider, so just put all these up on the head. Got another one here that needs the head treatment too. And actually a few more. Q to get that out of my way. And right now I'm just going to go to vertices. Let's just grab all of these offenders. Add. Crank them all up to 1. And I'll scroll just to make sure that I don't have any outliers there. I don't know what's going on with this one. Head. This one's a straggler. 0. The same kind of a thing. I press, like I put 0, but it's still wanting to distribute them. So I have to force it where I want it. That's kind of the same idea with the rigging. Now there's a couple more that are a little bit off. But that's okay. Now, I'm going to tell you a little secret again. Remember when so if we look at if we go to, pardon me, one thing I did wrong with this model is I made the mouth shut tight. And so what that means is that well, let's go back here. So I could click on this edge loop, and then having clicked that edge loop, I could go select components, modify. Oh, come on, that's under select. Convert selection, that's what I'm looking for. So the edges, I'm going to convert them to vertices. And I know those vertices are attached to the upper part of the mouth. And through this growing of and shrinking of selections is how you're going to isolate it, so that you can go back to the component editor and get the vertices of the jaw. Oops, sorry. Yeah, so most of these, let's go back a little bit. Most of those are on the lower jaw. So I could go to the component editor and force those to follow the mouth joint. So that's how you do that. So I'm not going to show you any more other than I just showed you how the component editor works, and I'll let you figure out the rest there. Okay, so that's weighting. Thank you very much. See you in the next video.